Well, I think part of the challenge is that a lot of these techniques aren't new, right? So some of the methods by which you're generating these synthetic fakes or synthetic misinformation, maybe those techniques are new or cutting edge, but the idea of replacement and uh, subtle alteration and misinformation through the editing of video or photographs is it can be low tech and quite effective, right? So it's been done for a very long time. I mean, Stalin was doing this back in back in the USSR. So I don't think I think that the interesting piece here is how does this like influx of massive amounts of new data that might just be captured, right? Everyone has a cell phone now. You have CCTV cameras, you have news organizations that might be witnessing these things. How can we start to maybe incorporate all those pieces together so that we can easily flag when something looks completely wrong or is off from what other pieces of data are telling us? And then to Bora's point, I don't know how you address the fact that internally people can share things, right? Conspiracy theorists do this all the time. They'll share things within these internal networks where there's no way for an external party to come in. And even if you came in and said, whoa, that's wrong, they wouldn't trust you. So with these internal networks, these WhatsApp groups where you have a video that's mislabeled or a photo that's mislabeled, and that leads to riots and maybe someone getting killed, that's a really that's not like a high-tech deep fake situation. That's a ongoing, very real, very hard to grapple with question. I don't know what the solution is.
Yeah, and in some ways I would say that just classifying this work as not the sort of aha moment where sort of all the various threads of investigation come together to reveal something. It's much more banal than that, right? It's pretty straight. It's pretty simple. You take photographs, and I don't know how to answer the question of the single video and the kind of authentication of a single video, but in situations where you have more than one, just this simple endeavor of taking multiple videos and photographs and placing them in space and looking at them together, I think goes a long way towards addressing the questions of authentication. And so I think that's what we're focused on. And in some ways, the speed of doing that, how quickly you can do that, I think, and increasing the kind of, because that's the big threat. I don't think any of us are particularly concerned about whether or not a kind of fake will have an effect over a long period of time. It's more about the kind of cascading effects of something that is precipitating decision making within hours or days of something being released. And I think to the extent that some of the tools that we're working with can be sped up so we can deploy them very quickly and counter sort of this cascade of events that might be triggered by a really concerning video or photo, is a sort of ambition. Because the reality of the work that we're doing is it takes a long time. I think it's rigorous. It ultimately really helps us get an understanding of a sequence of events, but it's not super fast. And so I think one of the goals right now is to speed things up, and that's where automation could potentially be very useful. Like, could you automate the process of geolocating? Could you automate the process of timestamping without metadata, so that you can get a more insight into where and when a video was taken? I think that's, in terms of the things that we're touching, that would be a big step forward. I think make a dent potentially in authentication questions.